Simple Tales presents Isis and Osiris from ancient Egyptian mythology. Long ago, when the gods still walked among mortals, Egypt was ruled by a wise king named Osiris. Under his reign, the land prospered. The Nile flooded its banks each year, bringing fertile soil to the fields. Crops flourished, cities grew, people lived in peace. Osiris taught humanity many useful things. He showed them how to cultivate grain. He taught them laws to settle disputes. He encouraged music, learning, and craftsmanship. Beside him ruled his queen, Isis. She was renowned throughout the land for her wisdom and magical knowledge. Together they governed Egypt in harmony, and the people loved them.
But not everyone rejoiced in their success. Osiris had a brother named Set. Set ruled the barren deserts beyond the fertile Nile Valley. Where Osiris brought life, Set embodied chaos. And as the years passed, jealousy consumed him. He envied the love the people gave Osiris. He envied his power. Most of all, he envied the peace that followed wherever his brother walked. At last, Set devised a terrible plan. He secretly measured Osiris's body. Then he ordered skilled craftsmen to build a magnificent chest. It was made of precious wood and decorated with gold and jewels. Most importantly, it was built to fit Osiris perfectly. When the chest was finished, Set held a grand banquet. Many nobles and guests attended. During the feast, Set unveiled the beautiful chest. "I shall give this treasure," he announced, "to whoever fits inside it best." The guests laughed and eagerly took turns climbing into the chest. Some were too tall, others were too short. None fit properly. Finally, Osiris stepped forward. Curious and smiling, he lay inside. The chest fit him exactly. In an instant, Set's followers sprang into action. They slammed the lid shut. They nailed it closed. They sealed it with molten lead. Before anyone could stop them, they carried the chest to the Nile and cast it into the river. The waters carried it away. Thus, the beloved king vanished from Egypt. When Isis learned what had happened, grief overwhelmed her. Yet she refused to surrender to despair. She cut her hair in mourning and set out to find her husband. Across deserts and rivers she searched. She questioned sailors. She spoke with travelers. She wandered farther than any queen had ever traveled before. At last, she heard a strange tale from distant Byblos. A great tamarisk tree had grown beside the sea. The tree was unlike any other. Its trunk had grown around a mysterious chest hidden within its wood. When Isis heard this, she knew she had found her husband. She journeyed to Byblos and stood before the mighty tree. Through patience and wisdom, she gained possession of the chest hidden inside. Then she carried it back to Egypt. At last, she believed her long search had ended. But tragedy struck again. One moonlit night,
Set discovered the hidden coffin. When he opened it and saw Osiris's body, his hatred flared anew. In a rage, he seized the corpse. Then he committed a terrible act. He cut Osiris's body into pieces. Scattering them across Egypt, he believed he had destroyed all hope of restoration forever. When Isis discovered what had happened, her sorrow deepened. Yet once again, she refused to give up. She travelled the length of the Nile, through marshes filled with reeds, across deserts swept by wind, past villages and temples. Everywhere she searched for the scattered remains of her husband. One by one she found them. Each discovery brought both grief and determination. Years seemed to pass in her endless quest. At last, nearly every piece had been recovered.
Then Isis called upon her great magical knowledge. She was joined by Anubis, guardian of the dead. Together, they carefully restored Osiris's body. They wrapped him in sacred linens. They spoke ancient words of power. They performed rituals never before seen in the world. According to legend, this became the first mummification. Then, Isis spread her wings above her husband and uttered the strongest spells she knew. The air grew still. The earth seemed to hold its breath.
Slowly, life returned. For a brief moment, Osiris awoke. The victory, however, was not complete. Death had touched him too deeply. He could not remain among the living. The world had changed, yet their love endured. And before Osiris departed, he and Isis conceived a son who would continue his legacy. Then Osiris journeyed beyond the mortal realm. There he became ruler of the underworld. From his throne he would judge the souls of the dead and guide the righteous into the afterlife. Though Isis mourned his departure, she understood what had been achieved.
Death had not truly conquered him. His body had fallen. His earthly reign had ended. Yet he still existed. His spirit endured. His wisdom remained. The people of Egypt took comfort in this. Each year they watched the Nile flood the land and bring new life to the fields, and they remembered Osiris. Like the river, he had disappeared only to return in another form. Like the harvest, life could emerge again after seeming to perish. Thus, the story of Isis and Osiris became one of the most sacred tales in Egypt. It reminded people that love can endure suffering, that devotion can overcome despair, and that death, though powerful, is not always the end of the journey. For as long as the Nile flowed through Egypt, the names of Isis and Osiris would be remembered. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share Simple Tales. There are many more legends waiting to be told.